I see Tracy coming in. It just says connecting to audio, so I don't know if you
Okay.
can hear us, Tracy. But even if he's not able to speak, we have at least a quorum even without him. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Let's get started. I call this meeting of the South Washington County Telecommunications Commission, SWCTC, to order. As previously noticed, this meeting is being conducted both in person and by telephonic means pursuant to Minnesota Statute Section 13D.021. On March 17th of 2020, former board chair Dave Thiede issued a written determination that SWCTC's in-person meetings and meetings conducted under Minnesota Statute Section 13D.02 were not practical or prudent because of a health pandemic or declared emergency. As current chair of the South Washington County Telecommunications Commission, I, Robert James, am not physically present at the commission's regular meeting location, which is Cottage Grove Council Chambers. And the other commissioners are either participating in person or through telephonic means. All commissioners can hear one another and can hear all discussion and testimony. Members of the public are invited to participate in this meeting by calling the commission's teleconferencing system at 312-626-6799. All members of the public can hear all discussion and testimony and all votes of the commissioners. All votes will be conducted by roll call. So, Mr. Executive Director, do we have a quorum for our meeting tonight?
Yes, Chair, we have a quorum.
Okay. Do you want to conduct the roll call?
Sure. Chair James.
Here.
Commissioner Bloom.
Here.
Commissioner Date.
Here.
Commissioner Rom.
Here.
Commissioner Justin Olson.
Here.
Commissioner Downs.
Present.
Commissioner Engelmann.
Here.
We also have, those are the voting members, Mr. Chair, and we also have in attendance Commission Director Randy Olson, Commissioner Dave Thiede, Staff Member Ann Schweisguth, Staff Member Lonnie Garland, and myself, Executive Director Mark Martinez, as well as our attorney, Mike Bradley.
Mark, this is Paul Diefenbach. I'm also here.
Thank you, Commissioner Diefenbach.
Very good. All right. So first off, I'll be looking for a motion and a second for the approval of tonight's agenda.
Commissioner Bloom, motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Commissioner Date, second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Mark, would you conduct the roll call for the votes?
Sure. James.
Aye.
Bloom.
Aye.
Date.
Aye.
Rom.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Ingman.
Aye.
Diefenbach.
Aye.
The agenda is approved.
Okay. I don't know if not being there, I'm guessing no members of the public are there in person.
No one is in person in
All
public.
right.
Anyone online, Lonnie? No.
Not that I see.
Okay.
And did you receive any public comment before the meeting at all, Mark?
I did not.
Okay. All right. Well, then we've got 4 items on the consent agenda. We should have all reviewed that. So do I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
Commissioner Date, I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Engelmann, second.
All right, good. I have a motion and a second. Mark, would you conduct the roll?
James.
Aye.
Bloom.
Aye.
Date.
Aye.
Rom.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Ingman.
Aye.
Diefenbach.
Aye.
The consent agenda is approved. I do want to point out to the Commission Director's attention that the revised meeting schedule for the year is in that consent agenda. Item D, we had talked about changing the time of the executive committee meeting to start at 5 p.m. And this revised schedule reflects that.
Looks good. Thank you, Mark.
Mhm.
All right, moving on to reports. We'll start with you, Mr. Executive Director, for your report.
Thank you. I want to provide the update on the progress we're working towards for our 2021 goals. We're well into Q2 now, and so the public safety EOC room at the City of Woodbury, we're currently collecting proposals and expect to award the AV integration within the next few weeks. Tonight we have for your approval later in the agenda a franchise extension ordinance to extend our franchise for 1 year, our current franchise for 1 year while we negotiate renewal. We also have for your approval in the agenda a 3-year lease extension, office lease extension that will enable us to remain in our current location for the next 3 years. And you may have received the second edition of our community engagement newsletter. So far, we've distributed that to about 180 or so recipients, and we have received a lot of positive feedback. We're also talking with Washington County again about additional production services. And I'm pleased to let the commission know that our new IT specialist, Damon Price, has started his employment as of Monday. And so we welcome Damon to the commission. He's going to be a great resource for us and a great fit for the team. We had briefly mentioned before the meeting started that today we're a part of a Community Media Earth Day collective in which we're premiering our water documentary, Water, the Oil of Our Century, and we've partnered with our other community media centers around the state to compile a synchronized playlist of Earth Day related content that all the media centers that are participating will play in a synchronized time slot, similar to as if we were all on the same network. So it's the first of its kind. It's something that I initiated as part of just being an executive director within the community media community, and also as president of MACTA. Here's a sample of the quarterly brief that went out, highlighting the water documentary, produced by myself and directed by Justin Atkinson and Ann Schweisguth. Of note and welcoming Damon Price. The work that technical manager Lonnie Garland has done in project managing the 2 AV integration systems at Eagle Valley Golf Course and River Oaks Golf Course, as well as our community connection and the Washington County Food Assistance programs. I also included the MACTA e-brief for your perusal. And going to jump down to pardon me. This graph here, I thought might be interesting information for you. It was something that came out of the MACTA board meeting this week, and it's the allocation of the American Rescue Plan Act. And this is just the general overview of Minnesota's allotments. You may already know this information, but I just thought if you didn't have this available, you might find this interesting. I can send this spreadsheet to you if you want more information. It does have many layers to it that you can actually drill down into our specific cities. Just let me know. And before I hand it off to our operations manager, I want to read through an email I just sent out just a little while ago. Sorry for scrolling. It's about our wishing you a happy Earth Day and Water Documentary Premiere Day. I'm thrilled to announce the premiere today of our informational water documentary, Water, the Oil of Our Century. This project was 2 years in the making and could not have been done without the support and dedication of our team, stakeholders, partnerships, community, and cable subscribers. Thank you for entrusting us to share this meaningful and comprehensive film about all the great work being done at the state and local levels to ensure water is safe, affordable, and available to all Minnesotans now and for the future generations. When I first envisioned a video about water as a critical and strategic project for each of our member cities, after some initial research, I did not find a comprehensive video about Minnesota water. And when asking, I heard that many had never really thought much about how water, which we often take for granted, appears magically for our daily use. I wanted to provide some insight and educational information about the work that makes that happen. It would be a deep dive into how water in our region is accessed, analyzed, planned, and distributed. The star would be water, and supporting would be our member cities and state agencies. This is also a film about conservation and protecting this precious resource. Water exists in the natural world, so I wanted this to be a beautiful film, and the team of cinematographers, camera operators, writer, directors, sound recordists, lighting designers, animator, and color specialists brought this to life. Our ultimate goal would be a call to action to do your part and more in the great scope of this issue. After all, we are all in the same boat together. We achieved many goals with this project. This is the most collaborative project the team has ever endeavored. In doing so, we stretched our production capabilities in a number of ways. The foremost was that this was the first project where we made the technical leap from high definition to 4K. We grew our network of industry professionals. We also struck many partnerships along the way that have led to new revenue opportunities. And it establishes us as a powerhouse in long-form filmmaking in the region. To say the excitement and encouragement we received from everyone exceeded my expectations would be an understatement. And we are very proud of this work. This film is another landmark achievement in the history of SWCTC. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to make this film for you. We hope you enjoy it as we work together to make a difference on our planet Earth. Thank you. And now I'd like to hand it over to Operations Manager Ann Schweisguth. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Mark or Lonnie, can I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead, Ann. You should be able to share it. Do we need to give you permission? Hang on one second, please.
You do, yep.
I
you go.
I have it here. Or no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Ann. You should be able to now.
Oh, there it is. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So I wanted to show you a couple videos today, but first I wanted to also show you our new production van. We purchased this as a used vehicle, so when we got it, it had like a skull on the back of the vehicle and a skull on the front, and we thought, we should probably change that. So we recently removed the skulls and put our logo on it and our website. So this is great to have, especially for me who has a little Prius. I can't really get some of that big lighting gear into my vehicle ever. So it's great that we can have a vehicle that all of our gear can fit into now. My last report, I told you guys that we were working with the city of Woodbury on a business show, and I'm excited to say that we're airing the very first episode now. The show is called Local Biz, and it's hosted by Sar Brima. Sar is an actor. He's also an entrepreneur. He and his wife have a cookie company. So we're hoping that he might bring cookies to the next episode, but we'll find out. So we're excited to work with him and see what he brings to the show. I wanted to give you guys a look at the first show, not the whole thing, but just a little snippet of it. This was produced by Justin Atkinson and Bob McSherry.
Oh, we're not hearing the audio.
No,
Are you not hearing the audio?
no, the audio's not playing in.
Do I need to do something, Lonnie?
Not sure. It should play through.
You have to share the audio when you share your screen. There's a setting
Yeah.
on there.
Let's stop the screen share.
I believe it's on the bottom, right when you're getting ready
Oh,
to share.
there
Yep,
you
yeah, there's a
are.
checkbox.
Yep.
That's right.
Thank you. Okay, let's try that again. Let me know if you can hear it.
There we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first edition of Local Biz. I'm your host, Sar Brima. Local Biz was created to highlight businesses and related services in the city of Woodbury. Today, we're going to focus on the Woodbury Area Chamber of Commerce and what they do to help businesses. Later in the show, we're going to be speaking with Lori Steiger, who is the Chamber President, and Pat Fritz, who is the Chair of the Board of the Woodbury Area Chamber of Commerce, and he's also a business owner in the community. But my first guest is Woodbury Mayor Ann Burt. Mayor Burt, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Mayor Burt, how's the city involved with the chamber?
What's unique about Woodbury, and I've heard this from people all over the state, is that I, as a mayor, sit on the board of the Woodbury Area Chamber of Commerce, along with one of our staff members. And that is because our link is so vital. The chamber and businesses are important to the city, they're important to our community, they're important to our residents and the patrons. So we want to be at the table working together to ensure that Woodbury continues to be a vibrant business community.
Mayor Burt, can you help me understand what this phrase, "it's a wonderful line," means?
It's past the Christmas season now, but you're probably familiar with the very famous Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a group of people that wanted to support our local businesses during COVID and when it was shut down. So they would gather outside in a line waiting to purchase food or meals or popcorn or what have you. And so a group of people just said, let's just carry on the theme. It's a wonderful line to support our local businesses.
So that was really a production that everybody on staff was there for that. You can tell there was a couple cameras going on. So that was our first episode, and the show is only going to grow to be bigger and better and different things. Our next episode we're shooting next week. We're going to be at a couple golf locations in Woodbury and talk about that business. So we're excited to see where that goes. The other video I wanted to show you was something produced by government producer Brian Schmidt. The city of Cottage Grove approached us and wanted, their police department wanted to do a PSA about speeding. And this is something they wanted to share with the public as well as with the state. So here it is.
We've had a deadly start to the year 2021, and often speed is one of the reasons for these fatal crashes.
40% of this year's traffic fatalities are the result of speeding.
And so far in 2021, we've had 25 speed-related deaths on Minnesota roads.
Compare that to 11 at this time last year. There are calls that stay with us for a lifetime. I remember one speed-related fatality that happened in 2005.
There are 3 teens traveling in a vehicle on Hale Avenue. The driver lost control and struck a fire hydrant and then a tree.
The 16-year-old passenger in the back seat was ejected. He died from his injuries. The driver was later transported to Regions Hospital for treatment.
The passenger in the front seat, who was wearing a seatbelt, was also treated at the hospital before being released.
This summer, our officers will be spread throughout the community, making sure motorists are driving safely and following the speed limit.
We'll be moving our speed signs throughout the city as neighbors help us monitor speed.
So this spring, we are reminding motorists to slow down.
We need to turn around this trend of traffic fatalities where speed is a contributing factor. Don't be a statistic, please slow down.
So the city of Cottage Grove was very happy with that. They're going to be releasing that, I think, next week to the public. So that is my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Ann.
Thanks, Ann. I had just a question for both Mark, I guess, and Ann. The first, the Earth Day video. Where all is that going to be seen?
Currently, that is premiering on our cable channel initially. We've been invited to participate in some conferences with other water nonprofits around the metro over the summer and participate in some screening events, both virtually and outdoor. And so we plan to make that tour over the summer and continue to play it on our channels until the end of summer. And then at that time, we'll release it on YouTube.
Okay, not till the end of the summer, though.
Yes, we're trying to have essentially an exclusive viewing for our cable subscribers who ultimately funded this project.
Okay. Okay. And then for what the videos that Ann showed?
Those will go out widely over social media, YouTube, and our channels immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Yep. And I'd like to hand the floor over to Technical Manager Lonnie Garland.
Evening, everyone. It's been pretty busy. The golf courses, both Eagle Valley and Woodbury, and the golf course in River Oaks and Cottage Grove, all received new AV upgrades. Big improvements. I'm hoping that it helps the golf courses, better utilize their building for meetings and those kind of things. I know River Oaks has already used theirs several times for banquets and that kind of stuff. The nice thing about River Oaks is they have a monitor on a cart and they wheel it out in the patio area, and people sit around and enjoy the dinners and are able to watch the golf channel. So it's kind of a nice feature that they added there. We did have some technical issues starting off, but we've had those resolved. Seems to be working fine now. Eagle Valley seems to be working fine. There's a glitch there with a programming issue, but I think they've got that resolved. I know, Rob, they were going to reach out to you or Ben and check on a networking issue that they were having. So, but I think that was either resolved or they were still working on that issue right now. But I know that Dan's very happy and Dennis both golf courses are very, very happy with the new systems that they have in place. We used 2 different vendors. We used AVI at River Oaks and we used ASI at Woodbury. And ASI has been doing a very good job for us. Their pricing's been very good, and they've done a really good job at getting some of our business. As a matter of fact, they're the first ones to give us a quote on the EOC building at Woodbury that we're going to be updating. So I did receive a quote from Z Systems that just came in today. I haven't really gone through that much. And then AVI's is supposed to be here tomorrow. So then I'll have all 3 quotes that we need to do that upgrade. I don't have numbers in front of me right now. I did like ASI's proposal for the EOC, just real quick. They had a video wall system, basically 4 monitors connected to look like 1 monitor, but the power is run from the rack through a different kind of cabling system, so you don't actually have to put a 4-gang box in the wall. it's kind of a neat system. I think it might save some money on low voltage runs and electrician runs. So something to look at. It's different. So that's why it's going to be a challenge when you do something new. Is how well does it work? So we'll do some research. Add in Damon Price as IT specialist has been fantastic. He's jumped in with both feet. I think he's been overwhelmed a couple times, but that's okay. He's learning and he's good at. He's actually has a lot of knowledge as installing and programming AV systems, and so he'll be a good resource when we go forward on EOC to make sure that we're getting everything we need in that room and that it works the way it should. I know that Reach has been popular now, our new billboard systems for different rooms. I know, Rob, you've taken a couple of them, and Brian's utilized them. What's nice about Reach is it's pretty simple to use. You can have one of your employees run it, and it's a local company. They're right here in Minneapolis. So it's kind of nice to have somebody local that you can reach out to and have things readily available to you. So that's been a good upgrade, I think, for the cities and the different buildings that are using that. The vans has been, I'm a big fan of the van, but that's just me. I like the skulls too, but I understand. It felt like a rock band when we were driving around with skulls on a van and everything. But anyway, but it's great because we're able to actually take pretty much all of our gear, cameras, lights, stands, and utilize all the tools that we have on a shoot. And if you could tell from the local biz shoot, some of that stuff was ours. We did hire a grip to come in and help us with the lighting because we're utilizing everybody else's as in other roles, but they did use some of our gear in that. And we learn every time we do one of those shoots how to better use our system and our equipment. Other than that, that's really all I have. I can answer questions if you have any. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Lonnie.
Thanks, Lonnie. And that will wrap it up for Executive Director report as well, and happy to take any questions you may have for myself before we hand the floor over to our attorney.
Hearing no questions, I guess we'll turn it over to Mr. Bradley for a legal update.
Okay, well, thank you, Chair and members. Good evening. I just have two items to mention tonight. The first is our Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals appeal of the FCC's third report and order relating to cable franchising. That matter is now fully briefed and argued and is now completely in front of the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals for a decision. We expect a decision to come out later this summer. Okay. Secondly, there was a significant amount of CARES Act funding that has come to the state of Minnesota, and $25.5 million has been earmarked for broadband funding. So if any of your communities are interested in any special broadband funding, the window to apply is opening very soon. And with that, I'd happy to answer any questions that you might have.
That was CARES funding, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Mark, I know we talked about previously with Gray Cloud Island needing to have some extension of broadband connectivity for that community. We had looked at a previous grant. Is this an opportunity to relook at that again for them?
That was going to be my question. How do we apply for this money?
You know, one thing you might do, Chair and members, there is a seminar or a webinar tomorrow through Deed, and you can probably just Google it. I don't have an easy link for that, or you can email me or email Mark, and he can email me, and I'll get you the information to participate in that webinar tomorrow to get some additional information.
Yeah, I can make sure to send out some information tonight too. That's exciting. I had heard there was broadband funding in the Rescue Act as well.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard anything on that? as of yet?
No, I heard the same thing,
Okay.
but I don't have any more details on that.
Okay.
No.
All right. If there's no more questions for Mr. Bradley, then we can move on to our official actions that need to get accomplished tonight. So for first unfinished business, we've got the Comcast Franchise Extension. Is there anything you want to preemptively share, Mr. Bradley?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair and members. This is a pretty straightforward ordinance amendment for you. This will amend your existing cable franchise agreement and ordinance with Comcast for a period of 1 year. And all the other terms and conditions other than the term of the agreement itself remains unchanged. And staff recommends approval.
This was also recommended for approval by the Executive Committee at our March meeting.
Great.
And maybe, Executive Director.
Go ahead, Dave.
I guess I should ask permission. So what is the status of the discussion now and negotiation with Comcast and you know, is it going to be done in a year or is there big sticking points right now or what's going on?
Yeah, thank you, Chair and Commissioner Thiede. We had to wait a long time for Comcast to provide a draft to the commission. And so a lot of our time has just been waiting for Comcast to actually respond. But they have responded now, and we're in the process of putting together a response to Comcast's last draft. And hopefully things will move a little bit faster. So a lot of that's out of our hands. You know, we can't force Comcast to act faster than they have in the past. So we're hopeful, and right now the parties have both agreed, or Comcast has agreed, and if you agree tonight, then we'll extend that ordinance out until 2022.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you know, as we talked about the executive committee, I'm in support of this. There's kind of a good and bad with this. The good is that we, you know, at least are operating underneath a formal agreement, that we're not just relying on the goodwill of Comcast to adhere to things, that there's something legal binding to it. So that's good. The bad is that it gives us a full year for them to just keep pushing it out. So there's not the pressure of a time clock or whatever. So, but I think in the end, it's the right thing to do. So, does anyone else have any questions or comments about the franchise extension that we're looking to approve tonight? And if not, I would take a motion and a second for the adoption of this franchise extension.
Commissioner Bloom, motion to approve the Comcast franchise extension.
Commissioner Ram, second it.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Mark, would you do the roll call?
Sure. Chair James.
Aye.
Commissioner Bloom.
Aye.
Commissioner Date.
Aye.
Commissioner Ram.
Aye.
Commissioner Olson.
Aye.
Commissioner Downs.
Aye.
Commissioner Engelmann.
Aye.
Commissioner Diefenbach.
Aye.
Motion is approved.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Mike, for that. Second item for unfinished business is the official office lease extension. So Mark, do you want to just kind of briefly go over that?
Yes, thank you, Chair and Commission Directors. I'll just briefly mention that a year ago this time we were looking at renewing our lease or potential other relocating to another location, and we went through some extensive proposal and estimating to make the move. We determined at that time that it just was best to extend our current lease for 1 year in our space, primarily due to the pandemic at the time. And so some new potential plans may kind of come together for us in a few years. So as we wait for those plan developments to happen, we are looking at extending our current lease for 3 years as the best for the organization. And so this proposal is really just a continuation of our current lease. It's with the same parameters and 2% increases per year that we're currently working with MSP Commercial. And so this plan makes a lot of sense for us to enable us to stay in our current location for 3 years and then make some long-term plans for the future. And we hope that by then we'll also have a new franchise in place, which would open up more opportunity. So the staff and our attorney and executive committee recommend to the full commission that we approve the 3-year lease extension with MSP Commercial this evening. Happy to answer any questions.
Yes, Chair James, this is Dave Thiede, Commissioner Thiede, and I have one question quick, if I so may.
Sure.
So, just by chance, we just extended the Comcast contract for 1 year. Just by chance, what happens if it doesn't go beyond 1 year? Let's say something would happen. What kind of financial obligation do we have to MSP?
Well, in our current contract, we have an out and a loss of funding clause. So that would continue.
Right. So that maintains through this 3-year extension then, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
That was a brilliant clause, wasn't it? Sure.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't it?
And we had to work a little bit to keep it in there too.
Yes, we did. Chair and Mark, so I think what you're asking for tonight is for authorization to negotiate an extension agreement, negotiate and execute an extension agreement consistent with the proposal that's contained in the packet tonight. Is that, I think that's probably what you want.
Maintaining the same conditions.
Because actually, Mark would be the one that would be signing the lease agreement?
That's correct.
I think if you give them that authorization, yes.
Okay, okay.
Which the commission granted for the current 1-year extension that we're operating under.
Right. No, and I think this is good. I remember last year, Mark, we actually kind of were running up against the clock in August before we got final kind of approval of that 1-year extension. So we're much more on top of things with it this year. So I feel good about this. So are there any other questions or comments related to the lease, this 3-year lease extension? And if not, then I would take a motion in a second to say what Mr. Bradley said.
I'll move to approve the lease agreement, lease extension.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Executive Director, do you want to do the roll call on this?
Sure, Chair. Chair James?
Aye.
Bloom?
Aye.
Date?
Aye.
Rom?
Aye.
Olson?
Aye.
Downs?
Aye.
Ingman?
Aye.
Diefenbach? Diefenbach?
Would he drop off?
Okay.
I think he's dropped off.
Okay.
You get on the deed website and he's signing up right now for that webinar.
Motion is approved.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your work on this, Mark. All right, moving on to new business. We have one item tonight, which is an insurance waiver form.
Yes. This is,
yeah,
Chair, thank you. This is our annual insurance waiver form that we ask for the commission's approval on. It's a standard form that we've typically approved with the selection of does not waive the monetary limits on municipal tort liability established by Minnesota Statute 466.04 to the extent of the limits of the liability coverage obtained from LMCIT. And so I'm asking for the commission's approval to check does not waive as our option in regards to our municipal tort liability insurance. Happy to take any questions.
You know, as I read through this, Mark, so I don't remember this from previous years. I don't know why. So I'm reading through this. I get the waiving of it, and kind of that caps, puts your cap at 500,000 for a single, and then 1.5 million, and then on the high end you can waive it and then add on your own purchase your own excess liability coverage, which then gives you that greater coverage. It's the middle option that's talked about. If the member waives the statutory limit and does not purchase excess liability, why is that cap higher then? That confused me a little bit. So I'm going off of page.
Yep.
So, yeah, that one. So the middle section there. So why is, okay. And I don't know if you or Mr. Bradley.
I couldn't tell you, Chair, the difference with that selection there. We've always historically chosen to cap the claims, which has made sense to me.
Right.
I can find more information.
Yeah, Chair, I think that's statutory. I think you can waive the one, but then there is still a protection of a higher cap. And I think that's statutory. I'm going off of memory. And that's dangerous.
And I seem to recall our Robin, our finance director, explained that quite a few years ago to the council, because we always do not waive also. And to be honest, I'd have to study it a little bit more myself again to remember exactly what she said. But it's definitely for us anyway, and including the cable commission. It's better to go with the do not waive.
Okay.
Yeah, we do not waive, so that middle section wouldn't pertain to us.
Correct.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. No, and I got the option to say you have the option to waive and then purchase excess liability coverage, which would give you higher protection. But it was just that middle one that says, well, I'm going to waive, but I'm not going to buy any additional liability coverage. But then my coverage goes up to $2 million instead of $500,000. Well, something doesn't make logical sense to me. With that,
I'm happy to bring in the League of Minnesota Cities representative at our next meeting, if you like.
Or even if you could get an explanation offline enough to, explain it, I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Yep.
We can table this then.
Yeah, is there any time, is there timing, is there a timing issue with this though? I mean, I don't necessarily need to hold this up if there's a due date on this.
Our renewal date is June 1st.
June 1st?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are we looking for from the commission tonight? Were we looking for?
Or the commission could grant the executive committee the authority to approve it at the May meeting.
And we could just have more.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make that
Mr.
motion.
Chair, I'll make the motion to table this for tonight and provide authority to the executive committee to approve in the May meeting with more information forthcoming.
I'll second.
Well, I have a motion and a second. I guess you can do the roll call. I would feel better with that, moving ahead with that option to discuss further.
Okay. Commissioner James.
Aye.
Bloom.
Aye.
Date.
Aye.
Rom.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Downs.
Aye.
Ingman.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Thank
All
you.
right, we'll discuss further then at the May Executive Commission meeting.
Yep.
Very good. All right, that is all for the new business. I guess we're at the point of any other commission comments or requests from any other commissioners, either in person or virtual. Not hearing any and not seeing anybody in the council chambers there with questions. I guess we would move. I would be looking for a motion and second for adjournment of the meeting then.
Motion to adjourn, Commissioner Bloom.
Second.
All right, do the roll, Mark.
Sure. Commissioner James.
Aye.
Commissioner Bloom.
Aye.
Commissioner Date.
Aye. I've got a very strong eye over here.
Commissioner Rom.
Aye.
Commissioner Olson.
Aye.
Commissioner Downs.
Aye.
Commissioner Engelmann.
Aye.
Motion is approved. We're adjourned.
Very good.
There you go.
Bye, everyone.
Night, everyone.
See you later.